Hey, what's good, people? It's your man CJ Williams here with Culturalist Theory. Established circa 1987 in the illest part of the Western Hemisphere, aka South Philadelphia, the legendary Roots crew have been ripping up microphones and stages worldwide across 4 decades now. Today, we're ranking their albums from worst to first, but this list will not include their initial independent release organics, any EPs or collaborations, or live albums for that matter as well. Now that we've clarified that, let's dive right in. Number 10, And Then You Shoot Your Cousin. The title of the Roots' most recent studio album paraphrases a line from KRS-One's solo joint Step Into a World. Unfortunately, nothing about this project feels as good as that song did back in '97. To put it bluntly, this is the sole album that falls completely short of the quality and consistency that Philly's finest rap band is known for. Founding member Black Thought's presence is noticeably less prominent, whereas he'd usually have at least one solo joint within, not so much here. That privilege is left to R&B crooner Raheem DeVaughn, who closes out the album with Tomorrow. The album clocks in at an EP's length worth of music at just under 34 minutes. The best track comes near the start, being When the People Cheer, particularly Thought's verse where he proclaims himself an introverted sex addict with major female problems. About 98 of them to be exact. How's that for some deep self-analysis? The other 2 tracks featuring Dice Raw and Greg Porn, Understand and The Dark Trinity, are about all that's left worth checking for. Serving as their final set with Def Jam, it feels like a contract fulfillment project at its worst. Let's hope that if they do drop another album, that it's nothing like this one. Number 9, Game Theory. The Roots crew began their Def Jam debut album by paying homage to Public Enemy's classic Don't Believe the Hype on False Media, a great nod to one of the earliest acts on the storied label. Malik B makes his return to the team since '99's Things Fall Apart on In the Music, Here I Come, and the title track. Black Thought fully brings us into the plight of South Philly on Long Time featuring Petey Petey and Bunny Sigler, where everybody's 50 cent away from a quarter struggling for life preservation. More moments like this would have helped Game Theory stand out amongst the Roots' overall strong catalog. The album received the 2007 nomination for Best Rap Album, losing out to Release Therapy by Ludacris. The single Don't Feel Right also got a nod for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group, losing out to Riding by Chamillionaire featuring Crazy Bone. While it is worth the time of day, the mileage received from this theory may vary. Number 8, Undone. 2011 was a busy year for the Roots. On top of Undone dropping in December of that year, less than a month prior, their second collab album within a year, Betty Wright the Movie, had also premiered. Sonically, Undone picks up right where How I Got Over left off. At its core, this is a concept album that dives into the despair of man. I Remember is, as Black Thought calls it, another hopeless story, the flight of my fall. Lighthouse finds Dice Raw sharing visions of raging waters, leaving him face down in the ocean and some more stuff, whereas Greg Porn is sitting on top of the world, ready to jump off it on the other side. Fonte returns for a verse on One Time, and Big Crit is so addicted to ballin' that he gets the shakes if he stops on Make My. The final 4 tracks, or movements as they are called here, are simply instrumentals that you're unlikely to play again after the first listen. Basically, if you can dig the concept and you're a longtime Roots fan, you're gonna rock with this one. Casual listeners should check for some of their other albums higher up the list. Number 7, How I Got Over. Kicking their rate of output into high gear, the Roots' 3rd Def Jam album arrived in the summer of 2010. Always keeping it 100 with us, you gotta love how Black Thought throws shade about being under the Def Jam payment plan on Dear God 2.0. Besides that, he also gives a lot of food for thought, with many points that unfortunately stand true to this day. The album title track counts as the standout, which sees T. Trotter writing the beat perfectly. Likewise for The Fire, featuring John Legend, who is also sampled on Doing It Again. Apparently they realized the chemistry they had going on as they ended up making their own collaboration project called Wake Up, arriving 3 months after this album. And fortunately, Right On was not released in 2020, as Black Thought spit this ferocious line.
I told y'all I'm above and beyond a gimmick. I get into your head and spread like a pandemic.
Earning another Best Rap Album Grammy nod in 2011, they suffered a second loss to Eminem, this time to his album Recovery. Honestly, the difference of placing How I Got Over in front of Undone is a matter of inches and crumbs, but this one's a bit more accessible to the masses, so to speak. Nowadays, you don't have to leave the crib to catch the Roots live. They became the official in-house band on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon in 2009 and followed him over to The Tonight Show circa 2011. 2014. Not only do they provide the music, but they also participate in some of the sketches throughout the broadcast. One particularly viral clip included former President Barack Obama as guest, racking up over 8 million views. Also, Amir Questlove Thompson directed a 2021 documentary titled Summer of Soul, which won an Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature. Did y'all check that out? Let us know what you thought about it in the comments. Number 6, Phrenology. Arriving almost 4 years after their breakout album Things Fall Apart, the Roots crew served up Phrenology around Thanksgiving 2002. Lead single Break You Off featuring Musiq Soulchild is definitely one of the smoothest joints to come from the Philly collective, with the album version including an extended instrumental break at the end. The follow-up single was a reworking of relative unknown Cody Chestnut's The Seed into The Seed 2.0. If you listen to his original versus the Roots update, you'll see just how much they can transform something that's aight into a certified banger. This joint still bops 20 years after its release with ease. Righting the wrong of being left off her own song, Jill Scott's pen and voice are stamped into complexity, which really should have been single number 3 from Phrenology if you ask us. Tariq torches the mic on Thought at Work over the off-sampled Apache bongo beat. Talib Kweli joins in on the microphone mashing for Rolling with Heat and Rhymes and Ammo. And while it's nice for artists to try and expand out of their comfort zone, things went a little too far on the ill-conceived Sacrifice featuring Nelly Furtado. The 10-minute long Water is another head-scratcher, while Amiri Baraka's spoken word piece, Something's in the Way of Things in Town, doesn't hit like Ursula Ruckert's Tales of the Past. However, there's still enough on this album to keep you interested for repeated playbacks. Number 5, The Tipping Point. The breakdown of this dozen-track set, pretty straightforward. About half of the joints got some knock, and the other half, not as much. The first 3 tracks were all singles and warrant replays. Star/Pointro makes good of the Sly and the Family Stone song Everybody is a Star. I Don't Care is a catchy bop with a hook you can sing back to, whereas the Scott Storch produced Don't Say Nothing finds Black Thought doing a mumble rap hook while giving us the latest on what's happening on the Philadelphia side in between. Web is where he flexes his freestyle fanatic skills, but it's the following track, Boom, that's most impressive. After his first verse, Black Thought does a spot-on impression of Big Daddy Kane and Cool G Rap, reciting classic verses from the NYC legends. In Love with the Mic featuring Skills and Dave Chappelle is another head nodder, and finally the band takes 8 minutes to shine and get loose on Din Da Da. As for Duck Down, Guns Are Drawn, and Why, What's Going On, keep those on the back burner. Number 4, Do You Want More? The Roots crew dropped their major label debut at the top of 1995. Not looking to be another hip-hop collective biting the present-day status quo, this group consisted of a full live band alongside main MCs Black Thought and Malik B. The lineup included Questlove on the drums, Hub on the bass, and Kamal on the keyboards, to name a few. Super producer Scott Storch actually got his start as a keyboardist during this early period of the Roots career before branching off on his own. You'll catch the laid-back and chill vibes of this album on joints like Swept Away, I Remain Calm, and Proceed. You get a bebop and scratching session on Quest vs. Rozelle, and a very interesting spoken word piece to close out the album by Ursula Rucker. You've never heard the same verse 3 times in a row in a slightly different tone until you've heard Lazy Afternoon, and Questlove himself even drops a verse right quick on You Ain't Fly. Silent Treatment is a jam you'll definitely want to play back and was also sampled in 2001 by City High for their moderate hit Caramel featuring Eve. Peaking at number 5 on the Billboard Hip Hop and R&B charts, Do You Want More showcased that the Roots had a lot more to offer the world of hip hop than the norm from your typical rap group. Alright, more interesting Roots trivia for you. If you've ever purchased any of their physical tapes, records, or CDs, you've probably noticed that the track listing never starts off with the number 1. That's because they use a continuous track numbering scheme from album to album, starting with their 1993 independent release Organics. As it stands at the time of this recording, And Then You Shoot Your Cousin contains their latest string of tracks ranging from 171 through 181. Also, that hip-hop website that you get all your good stuff from, okplayer.com, was originated by the Roots and shares an anniversary date with their 4th album Things Fall Apart. Number 3, Philadelphia Half-Life. Arriving in the fall of 1996, Philadelphia Half-Life continued to build upon the foundation of Do You Want More? But this go-round, the sessions would include a number of outside guests in what will become a tradition for most of the group's subsequent releases. Common slides in from Chi-Town to toss bars back and forth on You and I Verse at War. A Tribe Called Quest's Q-Tip represents for Queens on Vital, the Universal side, and Philly's own anti-gangster bitch Bahamida, hope I didn't mess that up, lends her smooth understated flow to push up your lighter. VA native D'Angelo sprinkles his vocals on the Hypnotic, which serves as the Roots' twist on the Lost Boys' Love Lost tale, Renee. The singles released from Philadelphia Half-Life were also fairly solid, which included Concerto of the Desperado and Clones featuring Dice Raw and Mars. But it was definitely What They Do that got the big radio pushed and helped expose the group to even more ears than before. Half-Life one-upped its position over their previous album on the hip-hop and R&B charts at number 4. Again, the difference of position between said two albums is negligible and just goes to show the overall quality of their music. Number 2, Rising Down. If you're looking for an album that consists of straight spitting, then 2008's Rising Down is going to serve up what you've been waiting for. Check out the quick acapella of a young Tariq Trotter on @15 to see just how long he's been working on his game. Before that flows right into the aptly titled 75 bars. After listening to that joint right there, tell us in the comments below the last time you heard anyone spit like that on an album track. Not a mixtape, but an album track. Dice Raw dropped some major facts in his verse, I Will Not Apologize. The flurry of rhymes continues on Lost Desire featuring Talib Kweli, and marks the final appearance of original group member the late Malik B. The beat on Rising Up is a tribute to DC Go-Go Sound featuring DC native Wale, with Chrisette Michelle handling hook duty on this super catchy vibe. Always giving us the truth, no chaser, Black Thought spit this line in 2008 on the bonus track Birthday Girl.
But I should've known better, cause now I feel like America's underbelly, R. Kelly, gutter smut peddlers, internet predators.
Damn, he called that one out, didn't he? The song was initially planned as the lead single, but ended up not even making the CD pressing of the album because according to Questlove, it didn't fit into the overall motif of the project. Rising Down entered the top rap albums at number 1, remained on the charts for 12 weeks, and peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200. Number 1, Things Fall Apart. Even though only a pair of singles were ever released, it was the 1-2 punch that landed the Roots their most successful project in 1999's Things Fall Apart. The album hit number 4 on the Billboard 200 and number 2 on the hip hop and R&B chart. On top of that, it was Grammy nominated for 2000's Best Rap Album, but lost to Eminem's debut record, the Slim Shady LP. However, the group did take home a trophy for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group for You Got Me featuring Erykah Badu and Eve. Some interesting facts in regards to that song. Fellow Philly native Jill Scott co-wrote and sang the hook originally, but the group's record label insisted that a more popular artist do the job for their lead single. Also, Eve was noticeably absent from the music video. For those of you who have never heard that version, here's a quick take of it right here.
Baby, don't worry, you know that you got me. If you worry my way.
Besides the platinum selling status and accolades of Things Fall Apart, the album is simply well put together with timeless music and dope rhymes throughout. In tradition with keeping things 100%, Philadelphia certified DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Jazzy Fat Nasties came through on the second single, The Next Movement, with Beanie Siegel joining up with Dice Raw on Adrenaline. Other must-play joints include Without a Doubt, Act 2, The Love of My Life featuring Common, Double Trouble featuring Mos Def, 100% Dundee, and of course, another compelling spoken word outro by Ursula Rucker. A ton of artists put out some of their best work in the 90s, and Things Fall Apart fits into that category perfectly. Alright, that brings us to the close on the Roots Crew catalog. As always, let us know in the comments below if we got it right. Tap that like, subscribe, and notification button while you're at it for us. Once again, it's your man CJ Williams for Culturalist Theory. I'll catch you next time.